A very good morning to you and welcome to the Power Breakfast Show for our second interview. This morning we want to have this discussion that most people suffer from. If you can run the graphics, it is said 1 of 4 adults across the world suffers from sleep order, and some of these sleep orders that people suffer from include insomnia, sleep apnea, which is we'll find out whether it's the same as snoring, or whether there's any difference between sleep apnea and snoring. There's restless leg syndrome. This is a neurological disorder characterized by throbbing, pulling, creeping, or other unpleasant sensations in the legs, and narcolepsy, which is a neurological disorder that affects sleep patterns. And in studio for us to have this conversation, I'm joined by Dr. Musyoka, who is an ENT, and Dr. Madrin, who's a psychologist. A very good morning to both of you. Thank you so much for coming. So I guess the first thing we will want to know from you, Dr. Madrin, what exactly is insomnia?
Insomnia is a condition whereby one cannot sleep at all or cannot maintain a state of sleep.
Okay, now what I need to understand, many people say that they suffer from it. Is there a clear indication of when one is suffering from insomnia, in the sense that how many hours do I need to be awake for it to be considered insomnia? Because I could sleep on Monday, then Tuesday I wake up, you know, I'm not able to sleep. Wednesday I'm not able to sleep, but Thursday, Friday I'm able to sleep. So what exactly defines it?
Okay, there are 3 types of insomnia.
Yes.
There is one that you can take, let's say, less than a week, which is allowed. There is the one that you can take minimum 1 to 3 weeks without sleep, and there is one which we call chronic.
When you say minimum 1 week, I do not sleep,
meaning you are suffering from this disorder of sleeping.
Okay.
Yes, maybe you sleep, sometimes wake up at night, and definitely there are causes of that. Yes. Now the one that is worrying is the one that you cannot sleep at all. You become a night runner.
Yes.
It becomes a nightmare for you.
What are some of the causes of insomnia?
There are actually 2 identified major causes of insomnia. One is psychological, the other one is medical, which my friend can talk about on medical issues because I'm not a medic.
Yes.
I'm a psychologist, psychotherapist.
Yes.
So in psychology, we identify causes like 1. There could be maybe you didn't sleep because at night you are having a fever. This is what we call physical disorders causing insomnia. Number 2, you are stressed. Maybe you are under stress, under pressure of work, so you cannot sleep. You are just that alert, I'm awake. Number 4, you may be having depressions, because these are all in line of psychology. Number 5, there could be maybe you are a mother and you have a sick child, and this child is continuously not sleeping, so you develop that kind of a disorder, which definitely drains you physically, even psychologically. Then the other part is, let's like now, people who work in shifts.
Yes.
You will not sleep at night.
Yes.
During the day you are waiting to do a few, let's talk of like nurses. A nurse who does not work who works throughout the night.
Yes.
During the day she's a mother.
Yes.
She has other roles to play.
Yes.
So you find that becomes now something chronic. You don't sleep, and with the time it eventually catches up with you, and it can even make you really collapse. Because of body fatigue and mental fatigue.
Yes.
Well, those are some of the causes, and there are many even.
Okay, but those are the known causes. Those are the known causes
that you can tell our common people around in Kenya.
Yes.
They are the ones that are causing that.
Okay, we'll come back to...
Also, there is something we call, when we talk of nightmares, and those...
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Nightmares and night terrors.
People who keep on, dreaming. Let's say you are dreaming somebody is cutting you, so you find that you wake up all of a sudden and you cannot sleep again.
Okay, we'll come back to insomnia, but I want to engage Dr. Musyoka, who is an ENT. A very good morning to you.
Good morning.
First, I think the most important thing is to understand the relation between ears, nose and throat with sleep.
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay, now, well, for you to have good sleep, you have to have good air entry to the chest.
Yes.
And where the ENT comes in is because we could have an obstruction, either in the nose, at the back of the throat, at the back of the tongue, that will cause you not to have good inhalation, so that air does not go properly into the system. So in that way, you will have disordered sleep.
Okay.
So you can develop a condition called apnea.
Yes.
So an apnea is whereby you have a patient who does not breathe properly during the night. And there are two forms of apnea. You can have obstructive sleep apnea, or you can have a central apnea. In obstructive sleep apnea, which is perhaps the more common, you have an obstruction of airway in these regions that I've just described, so that this patient will snore at night.
Yes.
And they have cycles during their sleep. They will snore, then at some point, a point reaches whereby they will stop breathing. Then, because they're not breathing, they have low oxygen in their system. So the mind stimulates them to have micro arousals, micro waking. They wake up, but not fully.
Okay. So
that they can take in some bit of air before they drift back to sleep. So that is obstructive sleep apnea. This is different from insomnia, because in insomnia, it is more psychological, and this patient cannot sleep. They will go to bed, and they will not find sleep.
Be able to sleep.
But in obstructive sleep apnea, they will go to bed, but they will, in the layman's language, they will snore.
That's what I was going to ask you. Is sleep apnea the same as snoring?
No.
What's the difference then?
The difference is most people in the population will snore. Snoring is basically noisy breathing. It's just noisy breathing. But when you have this condition progressing to becoming worse, then you have periods when these people will not breathe at all.
Okay.
And this is apnea.
Okay.
So, and that is pathological. Snoring is not pathological. So basically, sleep apnea is the worst form of snoring.
Snoring.
Yeah.
All right. Interesting things we're learning here. So sleep apnea is when obstructive is when there's something that is obstructing your pathway.
Your pathway.
Your breathing pathway.
Yeah.
What are some of the examples? What are some of the things that could be obstructing my pathway?
Well, sleep apnea, obstructive sleep apnea, is more common in the people more than 40 years.
Okay.
It's more common in males, and in children, it depends on the age group that we're looking at. If you are looking at children, the common causes are adenoids and tonsils. Because they're still growing, they have big tonsils, big adenoids, or it could be because of allergies around the nose, mucus, congestion, and the likes. When you come to adults, you have other things that come in, like, obesity or alcohol intake, and this will also cause snoring. You can have tumors in the nasopharynx, in this part that I've just described, tumors that will obstruct airway, and this will also cause obstructive sleep apnea. Okay.
Is sleep apnea fatal?
Well, it could be fatal, but it has very bad it causes very bad physiological changes in the body, like hypertension, and especially if you have a child who has big adenoids and big tonsils, and they keep snoring, and they will eventually have raised pressures in the lungs, something we call pulmonary hypertension, and this will eventually cause right-sided heart failure, and that is very fatal.
Yes.
Yeah, in adults it can give rise to hypertension.
Okay.
And it increases the risk of a stroke.
Okay.
And cardiovascular heart disease.
Okay. Dr. Madri, let's come back to you and insomnia, and let me get something clear. Yeah. So, do we say I'm an insomniac when I go to bed and I can't sleep? Do we say I'm an insomniac when I wake up in the middle of the night and I cannot sleep for the next 2 hours?
Those are some of the signs.
Those are some of the signs?
Yes.
Okay. How then would we go about treating that?
Okay, from a psychological part of view.
And sorry, let me cut you short before we even get there. We said stress, depression, and physical disorders.
There is also lifestyle.
Lifestyle?
Yes. Whereby, let's say, if somebody is an alcoholic and you drink all through night, definitely you lose your time for sleeping.
True.
There are also other causes, like even when a mother is expectant, so she cannot sleep, so she is disturbed. So we are talking of insomnia. It's any way that will, any condition that will make you sleeping uncomfortable.
But then there are those nights when really you just wake up. There's nothing that has, you know, triggered that.
Yes, and there it's where now deep psychology comes in.
Okay.
And this is where we need now to do a thorough assessment.
Okay.
Of what is causing that not sleeping. It could be medical, like Daktari was saying, it could be even a heart problem, or it could be even that deep stress that we need to see what is the genesis of that.
Okay.
So you cannot just wake up and say, I didn't sleep yesterday because I was tired. That is not true, because there are those underlying issues that needs to be investigated, that needs to be thoroughly assessed medically and psychologically to know exactly what could be causing this disorder.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So we can say that it's an underlying sign and symptom of something that,
and other issues
that could come and affect you later. All right, so we've talked about insomnia, and now we have an understanding as to what it is. What are some of the remedies, you know, before we take the drastic step to come and see you in hospital? What can we do at home? Is there anything?
Usually, first of all, the kinds of foods that we are eating.
So diet plays a role.
Yes, their diet is very necessary, because, for instance, if somebody is used to taking coffee in the evening, you know, coffee is actually, it has caffeine, which will make you alert.
Yes.
Beer, drugs, maybe foods that are actually, we are talking of GMOs, I don't want to enter into that. They are all things that stimulate our nerves and makes us very alert. Even it will take so much time to sleep. And then, basically at home, we need to have a rhythm. Time. When I talk of a rhythm, if my time for sleeping is at 7, let me have eaten before, because if I eat with a tummy which is full, definitely before I get sleep, I'm going to suffer a lot.
Toss and turn, yes.
It's always good to check those biological, you know, needs before you go to sleep, so that you can actually sleep comfortably. Let's look also our bedrooms, the way the lighting, the noise around. We try to avoid all these disturbances that would cause our sleep, you know, disrupt our sleep at one point. You mentioned something about rhythm, and we're living in a world where, you know, we're on the move, we're on the go. Do you think that is quite possible, seeing as there are days I'll get home at 7 o'clock, there are days I'll get home at 5 o'clock, there are days I'll get home at 10 o'clock? You know, so how then do we manage that scenario? Those are some of the causes. Some can be manageable, others cannot. We need now to learn to accept that is my reality, and then I adjust my life into it and find ways of how I can compensate this sleep. Because definitely when you wake up in the morning and you did not sleep well, maybe because there was a disturbance, maybe like this came at night, and you find you are waking up in the morning, you will definitely feel fatigued, dizzy, and you need to compensate that. So from a psychological perspective, and even at home, we need to find, okay, what time will I go to work? Do I really have some time maybe off? Can I try to compensate that, because it is encompassed in me, and it is me who can treat myself at that point. So this awareness that the people should be aware that if I don't sleep, I should find some time to rest.
We'll come to that compensation because there's a term they call sleep deficit and trying to compensate. We'll come to that in a bit. But I want to come to you, Dr. Musyoka, and you know, tell us some of the remedies. Are there any home remedies we could perform before it becomes too dramatic, before we come to hospital?
Okay, I think the first thing we need to do is to clearly distinguish between insomnia and apnea at home.
Okay.
And the difference is, the very simple thing that you can use to know what the difference is that in insomnia, a patient knows they have a problem.
Yes.
They will tell you, I can't sleep. I go to bed, I can't sleep.
Yes.
In sleep apnea, they don't know that they have a problem.
So
it is the bed partner who will tell you. It may be the spouse or the mother or to the child.
What
they
if I don't have a partner? I'm in trouble.
They're in trouble. They're in trouble.
Okay.
So so it is somebody else who reports.
Yes.
That my partner or my patient, my
daughter,
my child,
my son,
snores at night. So that is the first step. Then after you make a clear distinction that this is sleep apnea, if it is an adult, there are simple things you could try at home, like weight reduction. If you're obese, you could try weight reduction, because what weight does is that once you lie down and you are obese, all the tissues, there's narrowing of the airway. Yes. Internally because of the fat deposition. Yes. So you have narrowing there. So you could try with weight reduction first. Then the other thing you could do is to stop alcohol, if at all you are taking alcohol, because it has been noted to reduce the muscular tone. Okay. Around the airway, there are muscles, and they need good tone for them to stay open. So if you don't have good tone because of alcohol use, then you have obstruction. Yes. Then perhaps they're using medication like sleeping pills, and this has the same effect as alcohol. So they could try avoiding that as well. Okay. So those are the simple things you could try at home.
So clearly diet plays a very major role when it comes to having some good night's sleep, yeah? We can agree to that diet plays a very important role. Okay, we've talked about sleep apnea. What about snoring? How can we control that? Is that something we can control first and foremost?
No, snoring, it's difficult to control snoring, but, it could be hereditary. It could run in the family. Yes. Yeah, but you see, all these things that we call will cause apnea will also cause snoring in the primary, in the initial stages. So all those remedies like weight reduction, alcohol avoidance will also go a long way to reducing snoring. Okay. And sleeping position, sorry.
Sleeping position as well. Should we sleep on our tummy, on our side?
On the side.
On the side.
The snoring is more when you sleep on your back, because all the tissues now prolapse and obstruct the airway. So it is better when you lie down on the side.
On the side? Yeah. Okay. Dr. Madrin and Dr. Musyoka as well, there's this argument as to how many hours we need to sleep in a night. Some say 6, some say 8. What's your take? An adult, that is. A child will know 8 hours. An adult?
For an adult, they usually say minimum 6.
Minimum 6.
Yeah. Okay. To be able to function in a sane way.
Okay. Yeah. And now we come back to my question on sleep deficit. Half of the people in this room, I can attest to you, wake up very early in the morning, around 3 o'clock, and will be on, active until 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 to 3. 9 to 2:30. Those are quite a few hours, those are about 3 hours. Yeah. How then do we deal with that? Because it is our daily routine.
Well, that's why I began by saying a rhythm of life.
A rhythm of life.
Today in the society, there are basic needs that we cannot avoid. And that's why I was saying it all depends on how you train your psyche. Even sleeping is a psyche. If you say, I'll be taking drugs and I'll stay alert and I can work, like I know some people would tell me, Daktari, if I can't take coffee, I can't function because I'm feeling sleepy. Yes. And after lunch, they have to take either coffee or have a nap. Yes. That is a rhythm of life. That's what I meant. Okay. So you may work all through the night, but during the day, try to find time to compensate that, or when you are not working, because definitely at the end of the day, it is the mindset that you have lost, let's say, a certain amount of hours of your sleep. Yes. So when you are off, you relax. When you are at home, try to find that time to compensate that gap, so that you do not go wearing off psychologically. Yeah. Because at the end, it becomes even chronic. The third type of insomnia. This is what we are trying to avoid. The first two, they are a bit manageable.
Yes.
But when it comes now, your system has been used, even when you have this time to sleep, you cannot, because
sleep.
it is the way you have trained your body. Yeah. So for me, I would say it's a question of mindset and your rhythm of work and your lifestyle.
Okay.
How you organize yourself and how you educate yourself towards this sleeping.
Towards sleeping.
Yeah, because all the same, it has to be really in the mind that at this time I want to sleep, because that's how you need to train yourself. If you find that you are working long hours, and if you don't work, you lose job, definitely.
Yes.
And if you lose job, even you'll be more disturbed.
Yes.
So you need to find time to compensate that.
Find a balance.
A balance.
Yeah. Okay, and I think this question is to you, Dr. Madrine, because someone says, hi, sometimes I find myself walking out of sleep. I'm assuming this is sleepwalking. What exactly would be the cause of sleepwalking?
Sleepwalking, it is actually a psychological disorder.
Yes.
Whereby maybe we always try to tell people, look at the initial time of your life. You cannot know, because in psychology we have what we call the 3 spheres of your life. There are those unconscious parts that you cannot know unless now you are taken through a psychotherapy. Those are very deep issues in you and you are not aware. Maybe you acquired them when you are not born.
Yes.
There are those that you can identify within association. Like now, I lived 20 years and I never saw Daktari. I come and see a face familiar and then I say, oh, are you the one I saw sometimes? You see, that is the psych. That is what we refer to as the direct contact with the outsider. So with the sleepwalking, it must be an experience somebody may have done, or it may have happened through perception, through reality, and then, for instance, it was recorded somewhere in the mind, and therefore it becomes out very, dramatically.
Yes. And
this has to go, and that's why many people now run to a psychiatrist saying this is somebody who is mad. And for instance, let me give an example. I've dealt with cases of people who have done abortion. They are in Madare. So these kind of women, they are not per se mad. But you see that experience, because I had a case of a girl who was always cutting clothes, new clothes for the mother. And the mother was wondering, how come? When did she learn? This girl, how nobody does that kind of behavior.
Yes, yes.
Because even my area of our expertise is on emotional and behavior disorders.
Yes.
So when we did thorough assessment, and when you are doing thorough assessment, you also want to know the history of this person.
Yes.
You come to know this mother and actually trying to abort this child 3 times. Eventually the child was born. And through this experience, the child perceived psychologically. So this kind of behavior, they actually show themselves.
Yes.
And sometimes a mind which is disturbed through maybe night running, night walking, and you ask somebody, what are you doing? I was not walking. I am sleeping.
They're asleep.
Yes.
Okay. Wow, interesting.
So there are these remote genesis or remote perceptions of somebody's life experience, which now sometimes you don't need to rush to medication, because once you go on medication without knowing yourself and knowing the cause, you'll always live on medication and there are side effects.
True, at the end of the day.
Yes.
Okay. Dr. Musioka, there's someone who has a question, and I think this is to you. So, hi, sometimes I sleep very well at night, but when I wake up in the morning, I discover I have a very serious headache. What could be the problem?
Yeah, most likely there's some obstructive element. And what happens is that when they have sleep apnea, they do not have good oxygenation of the blood. So they really do not rest well at night. So in the morning, they wake up and they are feeling very tired. So they will have a headache and other psychological issues like irritability. These are people who will be irritable, or a child will be very hyperactive because they didn't sleep. They woke up not rejuvenated.
Yes.
Yeah. So that could be a problem of obstruction from the sleep.
Okay. Okay. So you really don't rest.
You really don't rest well at night.
Well, yeah.
So at night you have sleep, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. But you wake up. Sleep should renew your energy.
Yes. Yes.
So you wake up, but sleep has not taken place well, so you are not energetic enough. So,
okay.
So you feel, or you have all these bad side effects, and some will actually fall asleep during their working hours.
True.
So because they want to compensate for the lack of sleep at night.
At night.
Yeah.
Is there anything like oversleeping? There's someone here who says, I sleep 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. at least 5 days a week. Is there something like oversleeping?
It's called actually hyperinsomnia.
Hyperinsomnia.
Yeah.
Oversleeping.
Yeah, whereby you sleep maybe the whole day and the night.
Wow.
And when it comes to that now, it is the third level of insomnia, because as the causes are more or less the same. But you see, what I'm saying, it may be physical, it may be you are sick and you're not knowing. Yeah.
Okay. So it's actually something like that. I never knew there was something like that, because I could easily sleep for 12 hours.
It's called hyperinsomnia, meaning lack of sleep completely. Yeah, lack of sleep completely. Yeah. There is the other side we call oversleeping anyway. So this one, hyperinsomnia, it's whereby you cannot sleep at all. And this is now where we as psychologists would actually team up very seriously with the medics.
Okay, so that's hyperinsomnia. What about the case where I enter bed at 8 p.m. and sleep till 8 a.m.? Yeah. Is that normal?
It's also a problem.
It's also a problem. Yeah. Because ideally we should be on 8 hours. Yeah. Once you go more than 8 hours, there's a problem.
It's a problem actually.
Oh, okay.
And that's where now I wanted to, because there are these two issues, oversleeping and undersleeping completely. Yes. So when you find a person, we call them actually patients or clients, sleeping throughout, there is also some medical problems, there is also some psychological disorders. Those are the two major causes. And one of them, there are those kind of like, let's talk of tranquilizers. If somebody will take a tranquilizer, that person definitely will sleep completely. Yes. If you're in a very comfortable place and you are not worrying over anything, or you are worrying so much, you tend even to forget, it's one way of running from the reality. So you would actually say, I don't want the reality, I just want to sleep. And somebody would even take sleeping pills and sleep completely. Yes. So that one now becomes a problem. Okay. Yeah. All right. And especially also, alcohol reacts in two ways. It becomes either hyper, or the other way of now, because when it is hyper, it means overdoing. Yes, they sleep completely, because people react differently. True. To some with alcohol, they would sleep the whole day. Yeah. The others will be awake. Functioning is like a dent nail in their mouth. Yeah.
Then I can just add on that. Depression could manifest as what you're saying.
Oversleeping.
Yeah. It is one of the manifestations of depression, though she's a specialist. Okay. But I know that depressed people will, they have low self-drive, they keep sleeping all the time. Yeah. It could be a manifestation of depression.
All right. So Dr. Musyoka, Dr. Madrin, thank you so much for coming to studio today. Time is sadly up, but interesting conversation there, and thank you for informing our viewers back home on these sleep disorders. Thank you so much. Now we've come to the end of the Power Breakfast Show for this morning. Many thanks for joining us. Thank you for all your questions, your comments and suggestions on today's shows. And of course, we will not, today's interviews, we will not leave you empty-handed. We'll take you to the other studio where we have the Sojourners Reggae Band entertaining us to take us to the top of the hour. On behalf of everyone who makes this show success, I want to wish you a beautiful Tuesday. Take care.